So I'll get started. I know you're short on time.
Yeah, by all means.
So this is the introduction to Project T-Dot, my documentary project on Toronto's hip-hop community. I began producing this project in 2006, and the idea is to create a single project that tells the story of Toronto hip-hop from my perspective and also from the perspective of the community itself. This image here obviously features Drake, but it also features my colleague Matisse from a Toronto-based electronic group called Keys and Crates. I believe they're one of the most well-known electronic groups from Toronto.
The hip hop, goes back some distance, doesn't like to the 80s or 70s, doesn't it?
Yeah, late 70s. So I'm also going to talk to many people who are more knowledgeable about the early beginnings of Toronto hip hop.
You weren't even born then. So.
Yeah, I wasn't even. Yeah. So this is Jessie Riaz.
Yes, who I've met several times.
We met several times.
She's doing really well, eh?
Very talented.
Yeah.
So her manager Mauricio, in 2018, he sent me a cold Facebook message. We had been Facebook friends for about a decade. I'd never spoken to him before. He told me that he was a fan of my work and he wanted me to come to Jessie's private concert at the Evergreen Brickworks. He sends a limo to my place, and I end up spending the evening with Jessie, him, and about 80 people from the Remix Project.
It's funny because the interconnection between hip hop and Remix and the help for kids that need just a little bit of sort of support and opportunity to show what they can do in the arts and in film and music is extraordinary. I mean, and it's where you're probably going to tell me somewhere along here there's somebody that's come out of that project that's now an emerging artist because
absolutely
they've had the bit of support from the Remix Project.
Jesse's from the Remix Project.
Yes.
Drake recorded his first projects at the Remix Project. So Cardinal Official, obviously one of the most familiar faces in Toronto hip-hop, one of the most influential figures in Toronto's hip-hop community. Maestro Fresh West, the first rapper from Toronto to be recognized and celebrated in the United States and internationally. The Weeknd, this was my first time seeing his face, and this is, he opened for Drake's OVO Fest. I believe this is the second OVO Fest. And it was incredible because after I listened to his first mixtape, House of Balloons, I became an instant fan. And I was wondering what he looked like, so it was interesting to see his face. And there were maybe 500 to 1,000 people at the most in the amphitheater because they put him on so early.
Yeah.
And today he would sell out.
He himself.
Yeah, he would sell it out easily. Yeah. So he's an amazing rags to riches story.
Well, and he's been giving back to the community too, which I'm very, very proud of.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So many of these individuals, if not all of them, have a philanthropic aspect to their career. So pretty incredible.
They don't, sort of shine a bright light on, which I would say if I was talking to them, they should.
Yeah.
I think because hip hop, depending who you're asking, people
negative
have different
connotations.
Well, yeah, it's not even negative. It's maybe just neutral. They don't think anything good about it, and they don't relate to the music. So that's fine. That's a generational thing. But I think a lot of people, if they knew that these people are not only successful continent or sometimes globally, continent-wide or globally, but also that they give back substantially here. They do, and they do stuff, and they do it in an unsung way, like Weeknd. He did something at the Scarborough hospitals and put his own name, like Abel, up on the wall. So anybody going by, if they didn't happen to know his name, which most people wouldn't, they wouldn't know he gave very generously to that hospital, which is where he came from.
That's amazing. So Cheiko Tory, my colleague and friend, the co-founder of Manifesto Community Projects, which I'm sure you're familiar with.
I am.
Very talented photographer, filmmaker. He manages a lot of great musicians like Mustafa the Poet. This is a very important image of Drake. This is his first sold-out concert ever at the Sound Academy in 2009.
No kidding. That's when it was. 2009 is first out.
Yeah.
And when I say only the Sound Academy, that's where he was performing in 2009, which is what now, 14 years ago, 13.
Yeah.
Yeah, amazing, hey?
It's incredible. And by this point, I had been listening to Drake's music for half a decade. So I'd been listening to him since 2004. And I didn't realize that he was destined for superstardom.
No, who did?
Until
you saw that.
Yeah, I was standing beside him on stage. And when I looked into the crowd, it was incredible to see how fanatical his fans were. I had never seen a reaction from a crowd like that in Toronto. So from this moment forth, I realized that Drake was in a category of his own as far as Toronto-based musicians are concerned. So this is Julian, who you're familiar.
I see him a lot. Yeah, he's so terrific, and he's a nice guy too.
Yeah, so we work together through Operation Prefrontal Cortex, which is, as you know, our organization, which was founded soon after Julian was shot. to reduce violence in Toronto through mindfulness and meditation. And we're very concerned about the violence in the city, especially the last 5 or 6 years. Some of the things that have happened are
Cardinal Official, I'll name him as one, and he's not alone, but some of them have, people in the hip-hop community have made a big contribution to helping us with, the Maestro has done the same, but I would hope some of these people, because as you said, they have very loyal and very dedicated fan bases of people who pay attention to them as kind of leaders, and they could help us even more just with respect to the part of this is going to solve, because yes, we're going to solve some of the gun problem by stopping smuggling of guns and having tougher laws for repeat offenders, but a lot of it's going to be solved by community work, community investment, and by role models helping us to sort of keep people away from the gangs and that sort of thing.
Exactly.
So they could really help us a lot.
I mean, Boy Wonder, otherwise known as Matthew Samuels, arguably the most successful music producer in Canadian history, one of 2 producers behind Drake's massive success. One of the most positive influences on my career, especially in the beginning.
I have 2 favorites that I'll tell you just as we've gone all along.
Yeah.
That one, not just because I know him, but it's got a sort of a Mona Lisa. Do you know what I mean? He's got that sort of smile,
like
and the look in his
looking,
eyes.
yeah,
Oh no, it's extraordinary, really. And then the one of Drake with the microphone that was taken at the where you were right on stage with him. It's right there, isn't that it? There.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, it's